Okay, so um, so what I can do is, as I mentioned earlier, okay. So as I mentioned earlier, I think the setup got this some issues as well. So this is like the basic commands. By simply executing these things, I will be able to install Python within my image. But as I mentioned earlier, I can always, I'm not sure. Yeah. Mm, why I can't see my, give me a second. Google Chrome. Okay. So rather than me doing the Python installation, I will find Python pre-installed images. Okay. So I don't have to do the APK install and all those things. There will be images which is already done these things. Okay. I can just select the Python version, and sometimes they give us the version and everything that we need. So for example, uh, I might need Python 3.11. Okay, so if I search that, and there are different base images. So these Python 3.11.7, which is based on Windows Core. Okay, so the base image is Windows Server Core, or anything other than that, you can use these things. Okay, so there are like the specifically the one we need, something like this. So this is Python 3.11.7 based on Alpine 3.19. Okay, so you will find images that is already have completed these things. Okay, so rather than me doing all those things, I will copy these image name, and I do not need these things anymore. What I need to do is say uh, from Python 3.11.7 Alpine 3.9. That means my base image is not going to be Alpine 3.9, but a Python image which has already uh, installed the uh, 3.11.7 with an Alpine image. Okay, so you guys get the idea. I do not need to always based on the simplest one, but I can already created, but I can use already created base images. Okay, so there are few things that we might need to worry about when we are working these things. What is like normally these are like official images, Docker official images. So you can expect these things are not rigged or any malware installed or something like that. Because if you are using an image that is provided to us by someone else, we don't know what sort of modification they have might done. Okay, we don't know what sort of things there is. Okay, so in a scenario like that, if you are not happy with uh, with the setup or anything, always you guys can check what are the build command that they have used, or the Docker file that they have used. So in order to do that, there are a few things. If you click on the image name itself, okay, it will show the Docker Docker file kind of um, the image creation, the Docker commands that they have used in order to install this. Okay, so you guys can see it is used from Alpine 3, 3.9 latest, and these are the commands that they have executed. To make this image as executable, or to build this image. These are the things that they have used. Okay, so rather than they are using the APK, they have like created the files and added. We'll look into those things in a little bit later. Right now, what they have done is they have executed 15 step, or at least, yes, 15 step, including zero. They have created this Docker image. Okay, you guys can see there are run commands, there are env commands, which we are almost familiar with. You can use these things to look into what sort of things that they have executed. Sometimes some other images, they provide the Docker file itself. So, as I have seen some Postgres images, you will get the Docker file completely for yourself, so you can copy and use that Docker file if you need to do something. Okay, so uh, we know how we can create a Docker image. We know how we can base off, or we can have our own image by simply executing run commands to install the packages that we need, or we can use simply a base image which is already installed the program that we need. Okay, the next thing is sometimes not only the files that we need, not only the files that we have um, on internet, okay, like the base image and all those things. We might need to um, add some files of our own. Okay, we need to add some images, or some we need to add some application related data, sometimes binaries. We will look into some other binaries later on, but we need to manipulate this Docker image to contain our local files. Okay, so in order to do that, we have another command that we can achieve that. So the first thing that we need to do is to uh, copy a file from our build process to our image. So remember, when we are executing these commands, okay, these things happen during the build time of the image. Okay, we are building an image. We are not doing anything on the runtime. We are building an image. So while we are building the image, we can manipulate the image content. We can run commands. So everything that we are doing is happening at the build time. Okay. So what I will do is uh, I will what I will do is I will copy a file from my host image where the Docker file is, and I will copy that to the image that we are creating. Okay, so I will create a new file in here. I will make this as readme.md. Okay, I'll just create a dummy file called readme, and I'll say I am within I am to be sent to Docker image at build. You can have whatever you like. Right now, I'm just saying. So I have a Docker file. So I'm about to create a image. Okay. So I am creating an image. Within that image, I need to add this readme.md file. I need to add this readme.md file within a location of my choice, within a location of my choice within the image. Okay, so it's really simple. I need to use what we call a copy copy command. Okay, so you guys get an example in here. So first one is the command itself. The command is copy. Then after any space, you have to give the source. Then you have to give the destination. In this scenario, the source will be the readme.md file. Okay, the destination would be wherever you want to put this file within the image itself. So I'll be using the copy command. Source will be readme.md. So the destination would be within home, I would say, Beacon. Okay, so I will copy this readme.md within the root, and there will be a directory called home, and there will be a directory called Beacon. The file will be copied there. Okay, let me check whether this is happening. So first thing I need to do is I need to build this Docker image. So let's see what I can do. I can say Docker build -t h from leaker colon 0.0.1. So by the way, when I'm doing this, it will override the existing image. Okay, that means I have already have a version 1.1 image. It will override this. Okay, so the earlier version will be lost. That is fine. The next new version will copy this readme.md file, which is in right along my Docker file within the image home from the directory. Okay, let's see that. I'll build the command. Okay, it's taking the build command, and yes, it is. It is also, if you guys can clearly see in here, the second one is copy readme.md, exporting images, blah blah blah. So I will see the Docker images. Yes, I have the same Docker image as the version because I override the version. I'll run it. Docker run minus I minus d h1 liter colon 0.0.01. Okay. So I have a running Docker image. Let me see Docker ps. Yes, I have a container. I will connect to a shell in that. So I will be using Docker exec minus it bin sh. Minus, I had to give the container itself. Minus it image name or the container name bin sh. Okay, now I am within the container. So if I cd, if I ls in here, this is the room. I have something called home. So I will cd to home. And if I ls there, I will find a directory called rundecker. You guys can see I have copy from home rundecker. So I cd to rundecker. Okay, sorry. In here, what I have done is not created a directory, but let me show cat Randika. So what I did was something like a mistake that I made. So my intention was to create a directory under home and a directory called Randika. Then within that directory, I need to have this readme md. Instead of that, what I did was I copy the readme md to home Randika file. So there is a file called Randika, and I have copied that the readme md file. I have renamed it to Randika. Okay, so that is a mistake. The mistake is I need to have forward slash, one more forward slash in here. So that indicates, okay, I am gonna copying this readme md at the end to the Randika directory. If I remove this, what will happen? The readme md file will be copied as Randika. Okay, so in order to achieve my expected behavior, I should have a more forward slash in here that indicates this is going to be a directory. This file will be copied there. Okay, so make sure those things are done, otherwise it will not work. If you want to make sure these things remain same, I will add readme md in here. Not that I don't have a tailing forward slash. So that means readme md will be copied within home Randika readme md file. Okay, if you did not specify here, it will have the file name of the source. Okay, so that is a mistake I did. So you guys don't need to do that. Okay, keep a sharp eye on the uh, directory structure, otherwise it will not work as expected. So anyhow, you guys can see, even though the mistake is there, I can clearly see the file that I copied is within there. Okay, the copied file is within there. So I can copy files while I am creating the image. Okay, so I am gonna exit. I'm gonna see the container. I will stop that. Okay, so I no longer need that. Right. So we know how we can add a file while we are building. The next is there is a similar command. Okay, there is a similar command called add. Okay, we have the copy command, we have the add command. Okay, and copy command and add command do the same, behave same, like copy files, folders, or remote URLs from source to the destination path in the images file system. Okay, so this is the definition of add. Okay, if I give the copy files or folders from source to destination. So there is a little bit of difference. So I am leaving up to you to find out yourself what we can do with add, what we can do with copy. Okay, so you guys have to find out which is what. Okay, so there are two use cases, two different things that we'll be doing in here. But remember, those two differences have uh, little bit of what do you call, change to each. Okay, so make sure you know the usage of add, usage of copy as necessary. Okay, all right. And there is another thing that I need to specify you guys, that is a special file called a special file. Okay, so let me do something like this. I would say copy dot. That means wherever whatever the content within this location. Okay, I haven't specified a name. Okay. Whatever in this location will be copied to home/Andika. Okay, to demonstrate, what I'll do is I will create another file, uh, run.txt. Okay, so I have two files, some run instructions. Okay, so I have created a copy command in stating a dot in here. Rather than giving the file name, I have given the dot that indicates all the files within this location. Okay, so let me demonstrate how it works. So I have a docker build command somewhere on here. Yes. So I have a docker build command. I will override the version 1.01. So docker build hrunbigger 0.1. Okay. Let's see what's going on. Okay. Now I can run the container by simply saying docker run -i -d hrunbigger, this version. So the container is running. Another thing that you guys will find easy. Now I want to go inside my Docker container, right? I need to search for files. So in a scenario like that, there is some special extension which is uh, installed within your Visual Studio Code, is called the Docker plugin. Okay, so this is something useful when you are running a Docker image. Now you guys can see I am running this image. An instance should be created. Let me clear and check. Docker ps. Yes, it says okay, container is running out of this image. Yes, I can use docker exe -it and binbash to connect to that, or I can use this plugin over here and see what are the running containers. Okay, I can see running containers. You can see these under individual containers. These are like on stop sign. That means they are no longer running. But I can see a running Docker container. And if I collapse this, you guys can see it says files. Now the file system of the running container is visible within the Visual Studio Code itself. So if you guys can remember, I have copied some file, all the files within within the build directory, all the files within the build directory to a folder in the image called home/Randika. So if I go to home and Randika, you guys will see the Docker file itself, the README file, and the run.txt file. All those three files have been copied into the directory that I am, the directory or the image that I have created. Within that, all the files have been copied. Okay, I have copied everything from this to this. Okay, so you guys can see I can copy all the files, or I can copy one single file. Sometimes there are use cases where I do not want to copy uh, some specific files, not all the ones, but some specific files. Let me demonstrate that as well. So I can even stop the running container in this Visual Studio um, Visual Studio plugin. I can right click on here and hit stop. So it will stop the container. And even I can remove that. Okay. So if you do not like the terminal yourself, you can do that. But remember always, learn the basic things first, like executing those things manually, how we can do, learn those things and go on. Okay. All right. That is something that you guys can, work with. And the next thing that I want to show you guys is I want to create secret.txt. Okay, so this is something not to share. So I have another file which is called the secret. I think the spelling is correct. I'll say password. So the password txt. So where you guys can see that I'm copying all these files from the directory to the from the source directory for the destination. But sometimes it would be easy to copy all those things except these files. Okay, there are some situation. Of course, you can say copy readme, copy run txt. You can write copy commands for each of these, or you can just say copy everything except these. Okay, that would make more sense if you want to dynamically add files in here and you don't want some special files to be copied. So in order to achieve that, what you need to do is create another file. Especially this name is important, starting with the dot docker no. Okay, so you guys can see I have created a file called starting with a dot. Okay, dot is important. Docker ignore. Okay, the file name should be specific as this, and within you guys can see the icon, even it's changing. So within here I can specify what are the files to be not included while we are copying. Okay, I'll say Dockerfile, it is not something that you should include. And I don't need the password txt file to be copied as well. So make sure the files or directories that you do not want to be copied to be listed out in this docker ignore file, one after another. Okay, one line after another. If you specify these things, what will happen is when we are building this file, it will not include. I'm not sure whether the docker ignore file is copied by default, but for to be safe, I don't need the docker ignore file. I don't need the docker file. I don't need the password file. I just need readme and run.txt. So I'll say copy everything, but uh, I haven't specified to ignore this file, but Docker is smart enough. Within the build directory, if Docker sees that Docker ignore file is there, and whatever the content within this file is to be ignored. Okay, so names the files within this list, within this file. Sorry, will be automatically ignored while we are copying. Okay, let me demonstrate and see. Run a new terminal. I think the old one would do also. We would have to see the docker build command. I'll use the docker version 1.1 build. I would say build here. It is building the docker image. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to run it. Okay, I am running the docker image. As earlier on, I would use the VS Code extension. Now, if I go to home and Beaker, you guys can see that the readme file and the run.txt is the only file that we have copied. All the other files which are listed out in the Dockerfile files are completely ignored. Those things will not be copied. So this is uh, so this is what we call this is what something Docker ignore file would do. Okay, so the main usage of these files or these kind of tricks would be like when you are copying out all the application, sometimes there will be temporary files or there will be some files which are too large binaries. Whatever the files which are no longer needed within the build itself, we will be excluding those things in the Docker ignore file. Okay, so make sure you guys know what are the Docker ignore files is all about and what is its functionality and how we can do copying stuff. And okay, so uh, if you look at if you look at uh, oops, um, if you look at examples, there will be more of Docker commands in here. Okay, there's shell, especially run. Run is what we have used so far, and there is a special command called sorry cmd. Okay, which is also the same thing. Run is also executing command. CMD is also executing command, but there is a difference. Okay, so I'm assigning you guys to look into what is the difference. Okay, not only like see the container. If you provide an execution, it will not be specified. Then entry point must be specified. Well, there cannot be CMD. You guys will see this, but make sure you understand why the cmd command is different than the run command. Okay, take the difference, know the difference, and sorry, it will make your life very easy when you're knowing these commands. Okay, especially building Docker files. um, so we talked about a few commands, uh, things like copy, run, add. So there is another command called volume. Look at volume command. I'm trusting you guys who do your research. Okay, because I can't teach you every command in here, but you guys can play around this command, what these things do. Basically, volume is gonna create a bridge between the host and the guest. Okay, so it will like not add files, but it will link a directory or something like that. We call these things volume to the host. Okay, that's kind of the things with volumes. So you guys need to check those commands out. Okay, what are the things? So there, remember, when you are going into much deeper, there are commands which works while building the application, while building the image, and there are commands while they are executing the container. Okay, so there are two different type of commands. So the copy command, add command, those things will be executed or will be used during the application image building process. But commands like copy, cmd, those things will be executed while the container is running. Okay, so those are two different things. Remember those things. Okay, remember the difference. At least you don't have to remember every Docker command. At least remember the difference. Okay. And at least you should be to face your examination, you should be familiarized with at least 5 or 6 uh, Docker commands. Okay. So we have talked about from there are you can find a comprehensive list of Docker commands if you're interested in. Then you can go one by one. There are not a lot of those things uh, going around. All right. What else? So next thing you guys should run around is create your own Docker image. Okay. Try to add files, try to copy files, try to execute something, or even try to create some applications that will be running on Docker. Okay, it's up to you guys to get these things up and running. So make sure to follow all these commands and get a good idea on what are the commands are all about. All right, so we talk about Docker files. Next time, we'll be talking about something called Docker Compose. Okay, and with Docker Compose, we will be moving in we will into running multiple Docker containers simultaneously. Okay, so you guys can see if you want to run a um, Docker container, we have to select Docker run and everything. But using Docker Compose, you can run several containers at once. Okay, you will see how to write a Docker Compose file and how we can use those things in such as application development. So that will make much more easier in real life. Okay. Anything with this Docker um, Docker file creation lecture? Any problems that you guys might see? Okay. All right, let me stop sharing and let me stop recording.